I was out running some errands and doing previews for buyers out of country and stuff on Sunday when my phone rang. And it was from a guy who clicked on my ad, submitted the information, and then just called me straight away to be like, so when can you come and see my place? So I was supposed to go this afternoon, but I've had a slight change of schedule. So I'm now going to wait a few days and then possibly go see him on the weekend. But yeah, he's definitely eager to sell.
Awesome. You're going to get that. No, I know it.
Yeah.
100%. Good share. Keep it running. Who's got more shares? Wendy is getting a haircut, it looks like, or something.
I have one.
Go, Richard.
So the lead came in from another source. However, I applied what I've learned here in StreetText to it immediately, which is I call if there's a phone number, which I did. The person actually answered the phone and I said, okay, great. You know, I'll send you some stuff. So I put together a video by that afternoon. The next day went on the listing appointment and signed the listing. So it's kind of StreetText, kind of not, but I think it's more StreetText than anything else because the process I learned through what we do here, even though it didn't come in off of Facebook, it came from somewhere else. So it's a win. I'll take it.
You'll take it. And it's true. I think a lot of people, they learn from StreetText here in the community, especially on the masterminds, and they apply those tools back into their advertising lead generation. So this is always a win. That's awesome. Good share. Keep it going. Who's got more shares? Wendy's got a share. Hey, she's getting a haircut, covering the gray, she said.
He is committed, I'm telling you. Well, she's having her carrot colored and she's on the mastermind.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Winnie never misses, just like Leon just showed up, right? He just showed up just to say hello and then he goes about his vacation. Something to be said about that. Success leaves clues, guys.
So I got a question.
Yes.
So what do you do with the leads that come in? They may or may not have, email or phone, but if I managed to find a phone number, and it's leads that just sold their house. You know, they just sold it back in July, clicked, hey, what's my house worth? And I'm looking at that, I'm going, well, I'm not wasting half an hour putting that together for you. It's like, but there's got to be something. I put them into the database for future follow-up. Are you ready to sell your home in 2 or 3 years kind of thing? And maybe my monthly newsletters. But anything else anybody find to do with these folks?
Ole, I've gotten like 2 or 3 of those, and I basically just send them an email. This gentleman had bought his house a month before, had painted it and expected the price to go up. And I said, this is how things work in a sentence. And then you put them on a campaign to touch at a later date. I do think that you never know. We think that people move every 9 years and sometimes they move every 2. So I would just put them on a drip campaign.
One thing that I'll quickly add for you here, Ole, as well, is that oftentimes that depicts in my eyes a breakdown between them and their current representation. If I was to have just purchased a home or just sold a home or whatever it might be, and I had questions about that home, the person I should be reaching out to is the person I should have trusted the most because they're part of that transaction with me. And if I felt, I overpaid on this property, which I think a lot of people are starting to realize that it's quite possible that they pulled the trigger a little too soon, whatever it might be, they maybe overpaid a little bit. So I think there's just a breakdown with current representation. So that would be my, talk back to them. I'm not going to, they're not really under contract anymore. So there's no real solicitation, parameters there to worry about, but still you don't want to just jump in and sound like that thirsty realtor at the same time. Right. But it's, you set the market when you purchase the home in July. That's how this works. However, the market's ever changing. And what I aim to do is keep you up to date on everything, whether it's on your property, homes abroad, whatever it is, but I'm here to help you. How can I help you? And I think what you did there, just a quick reach out is the right thing to do. Just put your name there, be friendly, be there. Don't call them 5 times in a week. Let them go. That's not what they're looking for, but get them the information they came for. whatever it might be. And again, a quick explanation of, a simple CMA is not going to suffice in this case because you did set the value when you purchased this home. However, there are other services I think I have to offer you that would be more, in line with what you're currently, needing. If you could let me know a little bit more what you're looking for, I'd like to set you up on this service, whatever it is. But there's definitely things you can still offer them to stay top of mind until they're ready to transact again. And again, these people who are buying and selling real estate know people who are buying and selling real estate. So if they had a slightly uncomfortable situation with their current agent, you're now going to be hopefully their new agent. You're getting their referrals on an ongoing basis. And Richard, I saw you were unmuting yourself. You did, or Adrian, you had.
Yes, if just following up on what you just said, Logan, I'd like to give you an example. I went around enamoring this client for her listing for about 6 months, and she ended up listing with somebody else, which absolutely freaked me out. But I never let that get me down. So a month later, she just moved into her new property. I called, I follow up. She thought it was gracious that I wasn't like upset. And and she said, what's the market like in the Virginia area? So I gave her my spiel, just ended up signing a listing that we close next week on an investment condo. So you never know.
Awesome. All right.
I actually don't think anything is a waste of time. I've had several StreetText people buy a couple months ago and then have a job relocate them. So just because they just bought doesn't mean they don't need to sell. And then, so still reach out, still do a CMA, and then let them know that, you're here for them. And if you want to set them up on Homebot and let them know you'll keep them updated on their home's value, that's kind of what they're looking for as well, because everybody wants to know that.
Yeah, I wish we had that Homebot up here. We don't. So we don't have many of these things you guys talk about. But yeah, good point. So just keep in touch, be happy with them, and you never know, right?
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't have
Right.
Homebot up there, that's fine, but you can still send them a quarterly valuation or every 6 months. And then regardless if they're needing to sell in 2 years or 10 years, you're the person who's been there since day one, which I can guarantee their agent who sold them the place probably hasn't been.
Right.
And, we all know this is a long game anyways. So in 10 years, you could have a truckload of listings.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to add real quick. I haven't personally sold real estate in a number of years now. It's been quite a while, obviously, since I've been here at StreetText, and I still have reach outs to a number of my long-term clients from way back when, just because I kind of got used to doing it. My phone will ding and go, hey, it's time to reach in with so-and-so. It's like, haven't spoke to them in a year. Weird, right? It's an annual check-in. And, just a quick phone call, a nice little conversation, and it's, oh, haven't seen you around. What's going on? My friend's going to sell a home. This person's selling a home, but it's that constant check-in. My reason I'm checking in is legitimately, how are you doing? How are things? I really want to know how things are going for you. And I feel that, they understand that I'm an agent as well. And I do get or used to get a lot of transactions from that simple check-in. So I would start by checking in every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. This individual, let them set the schedule, right? Your first check-in with them. Lots can change in 3 months. Would it be okay with you if I give you a call in about 3 months and just check in and see how things are going? Maybe you have some more questions for me at that time. Schedule it in your phone. Done. You don't even need an automation for that, right?
Right. All right.
I have something here. Homebot, I didn't know that you have to be with the lender in order to get to see when people open your email.
Don't.
To open the activity log. Is that
I
true?
think you only need to be with the lender for buyers, unless
Correct.
it's changed.
That's what I thought, but they told me differently yesterday on the phone. And I'm like, no, I was told differently. So I'm a little...
I would say, they may not know. I would say send it to a couple of friends and have them open the emails and then see if you get the notifications.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And then that way it's a good way to send it to your friends without being pushy. Like, hey, I need your help. I'm testing out this new thing I'm using. And then it's a way to...
I'll do my own address. So will that work? Yeah.
It might not work the same if it's your own email. I would definitely try something outside of your own.
I have 4 emails. So you think I'll call a couple friends. Okay, no problem. Okay, thank you.
That's your idea though, Nicole. Send it to a bunch of your friends as a, hey, I just need your help with something I'm testing. And really you're just gently reminding them that you're in real estate.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
I do that to all of my friends and I'm like, hey, it's only me. Don't worry. Nobody else gets this. And it just helps with me to make sure information's up to date and you can give me the feedback as a friend and not as a client and da, 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 da. I mean, but they love it. I love seeing when they go in and everything.
So it's not just for buy. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and she was kind of new, and I had a feeling it was the wrong information, but that's okay. Okay, thank you so much.
Nicole, that reinforces sharing your ad, and for everybody here, sharing your ad too. A lot of the times I find when you have your ad and you go into the view ad mode, you can create your own organic relevancy on that and share it with a personal message to people, share it to pages, share it to your newsfeed, all with some personal context on there and offer it as a free service to people you already know within your personal Facebook, and that will organically build traction. So don't forget that. I don't say all ads are made to last forever, but there are ads that will continue to last forever. And Joe Rohinsky was a great example of that the other day, who has been running an ad since May of 2020 with hundreds of comments and a dozen plus shares on that particular ad. So just something to consider with some of your ads. You can create relevancy yourself, especially in the beginning as it's building, by sharing it within your personal Facebook community.
Thanks for reminding me, Marcus. You mentioned it yesterday. I forgot about it already. I wrote it down.
You guys know how I feel about Facebook. So whenever you guys want to talk about Facebook as a CRM, we'll handle that on the conversion workshops. But don't neglect the power of $3.99 within your personal Facebook. And you're paying Facebook for these ads, right? You're paying them to reach in an audience you've never met before. So we need to continue reinforcing the relationship back on Facebook and do whatever we can to create that personal connection. Because if you can get that connection there, now they can see you every single day. And nothing beats that in terms of what your CRMs are doing. Facebook is your CRM once you get that relationship, because now they get to know you and like you in that model. Plus, it's going to humanize it for you, right? If you don't ever, if you only see a lead as an address and an email, and there's no human connection, you're trying to do everything to put your face there with your email signature, with video, so they get to know you, right? What are you doing to get to know them? That's my question. How do you humanize it for yourself so that you can see their face, their family, their likes, their interests, and start connecting that element? So, it doesn't always show up, but you want to be intentional about trying your best to find these people on social and not just searching for them on Facebook. Do everything you possibly can to pull up more information with what you have. Sometimes you're kind of playing a little bit of a detective to figure it out.
Yeah, I think this goes back to what was just brought up there. And I think there's power in that. We were talking about it a little bit before, and I was talking to somebody about it yesterday. Like, use your close circle. They might not know how you operate professionally. They're used to seeing you out of a professional kind of a relationship. So go through your friends and say, hey, could you just do me a favor? Here's my landing page for my website. Could you just go through and fill this out and just give me your honest opinion about all the communication that's going through? And then do them the home value, send them the bomb, show them how professional you are, what you know, and you're using it as a way to like, yeah, could you just do me a favor? But then they get an opportunity to realize, hey, there's a professional side to me. You don't even know what I'm capable of doing here. So it's just a good way to reach out to your sphere that's close and get them into your funnel to let them see that professional side of you, because they might not realize how adequate you are at the job that you do. So go through your sphere right now and send them your landing page and have them give you honest feedback, and then touch base with them. Hey, just wanted to check in. Are those things coming in? What do you think of my emails? Are they professional? Like, any advice you could give me? I think it's a great way just to start conversations with people close to you and let them know, hey, you don't even know this side of me. I got some things going on you're unaware of.
Love it. It'll help you perfect your process. As I was saying, you want the constructive feedback from your friends and people that will give you honest, constructive criticism. And that's why I always even recommend post some of your stuff in the group too, so we can all share and help one another. But remember, automations are essentially a percentage game, and they dwindle over time. So what you'll start learning about automations, it's there when you can't be, but it's never going to take, oh, you know, your personal follow-up is everything. And so even with these automation emails that you're having in there, you know, even if you go in there and add 2 or 3 of your own personal ones like Wendy has, one of the recommendations I always have is, can those specific emails as well in your personal email, so that you can create tracking mechanisms behind it. Because with all that great communication you have, plus what you're sending personally, it only comes down to them receiving it. It only comes down to those videos that you're spending time doing being watched. It comes down to the links that you're trying to put in there being clicked on. It comes down to the replies, the conversations. And if you're not getting them, then something's got to change. Something's got to shift. You're not getting them. They're not getting into the inbox of that person, or they're not being received well. So that's where you need that feedback consistently, and be willing to change it up seasonally.
I asked the lady yesterday, or the one that we got the listing from. I said, so how did you like the video CMA that I did? She said, I loved it. And I went through every house in her neighborhood, you know, showed her the pictures. And I basically tell them, the reason I'm going through all these pictures is because you know your house. I haven't seen your house yet. But you know what your house looks at, and I want you to get a mental picture of how does it compare to the house here and this house here. And then by the time I got there, I didn't have to do a CMA and a whole presentation. We already knew what was what. She's like, let's just do it. So I did the snippets thing. So I've been sending stuff out much faster. I can get more out in a day than I ever could before. I just boom, type in the address, type in the name. The script is already in the email. I do a new video. A couple of times I sent a video for a different property by accident. I forgot to replace the video, but I fixed it, you know, whatever. It's all good. So yeah, I really like the way it works when you keep doing the same thing over and over.
Great feedback. And if anybody's not familiar with what those snippets are, that's a bomb canned response. And the power behind sending those things is that when you send it personally, you automatically get tracking installed. And the tracking is everything, especially if because you can go into and I use Google Chrome and Gmail, and you can go in and say, hey, did this guy get it? So what you'll do is you'll just grab their email, search, and it'll tell you all the stats on that particular person. Because at the end of the day, then you need to take notes and be like, okay, he opened it, he watched it, he replied. And if you're not, that's another thing I'm seeing with a lot of success with StreetText is people actually take notes on those particular leads. Because then you're gonna have to remind yourself when to check in, what was sent, what the conversation was. That's everything, right? And so if you get to a point where quantity of leads is becoming overwhelming, then my suggestion is to lower your ad budget and focus on the quality of follow-up, so you can put something together that you feel like, I'd rather you only have 1 lead come in every single day, that you can make sure you're getting an amazing process and measuring that process, than have 10 leads that you can't serve and feel overwhelmed with. So consider that, especially as you're generating leads on a daily basis. Are they getting it? Are they getting it? Am I taking notes? Does the process feel good? Am I getting responses? That's when you know you're in. Then so everything in the beginning is measurement of your conversations, as a measurement of tracking on the follow-up side. That's my recommendation, as to build the system well. Awesome. How's anything else that you guys want to talk about? It could be on the ad side, it could be on integrations, automations. Any questions specifically? This is the time.
Can you ask my question, Marcus, regarding?
Ask it again. Ask it again, Adrian.
So when one is working on one's funnel and wants to write an email, is there a way of the techie people of this group to work on, can I just click on the email instead of going to Robinson's Barn for it to open?
Logan? Troy or Steve, anybody?
So you mean like in the contact section itself, like just being able to click on their email and copy right from there? Is that essentially what you mean? Sorry.
No, when you're working on your funnel and creating your emails, it would be great to just click on the email and for that portion to open and work on it.
I'll have to get a little bit more.
I'll talk to you next Tuesday about it. I'll show you.
If you come to the Tuesday class, tell me exactly what you're looking for. I'm sure we either have a solution already, or we could, I'll make Adam build something real quick for you. We'll be good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I have a
On
question.
that. Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
New construction. Does anybody have like a way to get a list of new construction homes, like from Toll Brothers? Or I've emailed them and I told them I'm a realtor and I get nothing back. It's like, they don't want to deal with me. I want
Richard,
to do, go
I
ahead.
don't know about your MLS, but I know ours here, we've got direct access to new homes, something
Oh.
or another. So your MLS may have that. New Home Source is what it's called. And that's actually the easiest way. And they actually have stuff all the time that you can use to actually generate leads through them for people looking for new homes as well.
so the advantage to that, Richard, if you have an MLS system, you can just put like detached condos and fee simple, new construction, and it updates every 10 minutes.
Hey, Richard, a couple of things. If you go on some of these larger builders' websites, you'll see what products they have that are available. But just a warning, and it may be different for a lot of you guys, but here in California, builders have stopped cooperating with brokers because they don't need to. So just check that out before you start marketing a builder's product, that they're actually cooperating with brokers.
And if you go in through the MLS, Richard, like we do in the greater Metro DC area, you have a chance to bring to market to your audience the onesies and twosies, because you don't necessarily just want the 55 plus community by, I don't know, Toll Brothers. You also want onesies and twosies, and that's the best way to get to them. They will list on the MLS.
Awesome. Yeah, I've actually toured the site and I've talked to them in the office and said, I'm going to do some video, I want to market, and they will cooperate as long as I am with the client when they first go there. Like they can't go there without me. As soon as I sign them up, I'm good to go. So I have kind of this plan that I want to do, but it's like, I want to market the properties without Toll Brothers branding. I want my branding. So I don't know, do I have to create all that or?
But you know what you can do? What I did in my neighborhood is I found who's like the #1 builder. And I just sent to the president of the company a letter saying I would like to interview you. So I interviewed him and I interviewed an architect, etc. And they're going to end up in my YouTube channel. And they're happy then to be sharing on a continuous basis information about what they're doing. And then you can brand it on your own.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Logan, do you have anything to add on that with the recent ads you've been testing?
Yeah, we're actually, it's funny, Maddie's going to be putting it out there in the insider group for anybody who wants to try a pre-construction ad. The part of Richard's question that I can't answer, unfortunately, is more where to get said list, to build the IDX and to do all that. Just a general thought would be to, run it more as a generic, get a list of pre-construction homes and essentially, build that conversation. And I mean, again, you really want to and need to make sure you're avoiding the whole bait and switch. So you do need to make sure you get something to them right away. But the same thing can be said with our home valuation ads. It's not an automatic valuation. We get the lead, we work on the valuation, we get it to them in a timely period or a timely fashion. Same thing can be said here. Would you like a list of pre-construction homes in the area? Right, great. Oh, you've requested that. Let me start talking to you to figure out exactly what area of this area, what neighborhood, and there's multiple companies, multiple developments. I didn't want to just give you one. There's 3 buildings that I currently work on that are in that pre-construction or that pre-approval phase, whatever you want to call it. Let's figure out ways. So again, you could still kind of troll the space, so to speak, in trolling in a good way. That was more of a fishing term than a negative term, but you get the idea, right? You can kind of drop bait that way and see what you get. That would probably what I would recommend on that one. And so what I would do, I was going to bring it up here in a bit. I've got another ad that I wanted to show you guys. Last week's went really well. We got, I think we had set up 30 people with that last ad. Last count, I think we had 22 that had really good results. So this week we're going to be doing something somewhat similar. I've got a different ad that I'd like to show you guys here in a few minutes. I'll get that ready for you. But in the meantime, again, I was speaking with Maddie this morning, and she's going to put out in the insider group a similar offer for the pre-construction. If you guys want us to build a pre-construction style ad for you, we can build it to using an IDX link as your redirect URL, or if you already got that, or we can use your booking link, book a consultation with me, and we'll do the following for you. That would be a better alternative for what you're trying to do, Richard.
Yeah, I did you and I worked on a little bit. It was on my page, and then I'm like, I got 2 people responding and I didn't know what to send them because didn't have anything yet. So I'm like, I like what you said. Just kind of continue the conversation and get more specific on areas and what type of home that would probably work.
And again, I'm just trying to frame it in their best interest, because really you're trying to get a conversation so you can build rapport and you get a client. Great, but what's the purpose of getting that conversation? Is so you can get them as a client, or is it so they can tell you what they truly need so you can help them better, right? And I think if you frame it that right way of, I'm not trying to chase you around, I'm not trying to, blow your phone up. I just want to get a conversation with you so that I can give you, I've got 4 different opportunities for right now, and I don't want to overwhelm you. I want to give you the one that's best what you're currently looking for. Let me know what you're looking for, and I'll figure out what the best way to handle it.
Yeah, so I just have to work on the emails that go out in response to when they click on that ad. I shut them off for now because I wasn't prepared. So I'll get better prepared and see if I can make that run again.
Yeah, so just to make this easier, because I know that, again, Maddie was going to do an offer in the insider group to make this a little bit easier on her as well. If anybody is interested in that one pre-construction ad, I don't have anything to show you guys right now, but basically it was just a kind of a gray search box that said pre-construction homes. It looks like somebody had Googled it. If anybody's interested in that one, simply put in the chat section, put in your name and preferred target area. I'll write that down. I'll pass it over and we'll start building those ones as well. And like I said, I'll be showing a different ad that I'm going to be doing as well here in just a sec.
Logan, another question that we have now that we're on ads. What about the What's Your Home Really Worth and any of the other seller ads that we're running right now? What have you seen is the best way to get traction? Is it a satellite image still? Is it something outside the box? What have you been seeing on there?
My go-to lately has really been the aerial image of your selected target still. So an image that is instantly representative and recognizable as, oh, that's downtown Kelowna, that's this area, keeping in mind I'm having to target a 15-mile radius minimum, but my core is probably a 6 to 7 mile radius. So I'm highlighting that area a little bit better. I'm using landmarks, but they're part of a greater image. They are not the image alone. I'm not zoomed in on a landmark where that's the image alone. It's just an aerial view of the area on the What's Your Home Really Worth. That one, honestly, for the last year and a half, that one's been ridiculously strong. I would have to suggest that's the way I would go with for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one I thought was pretty cool, and I'll share an example here. Ole, I'm gonna use your example. I kind of like this. Where did you find this map?
From Logan.
Yeah, I did that
Okay.
one. I've been finding images again, images like this that go back to the map. That's kind of a combination then of the aerial view and the map. And the reason why the boring old Google map image has always worked, and most of you guys on this call are super well aware of this. The reason it's always worked so well is it doesn't look like an ad. It's not that same thing they've seen over and over and over again. But unfortunately, in every area, you see that same kind of imagery time and time again. It's like, oh, there's that ad again. So this is just going back to a fresher map, and in an area where we've run that map image a lot. And yeah, I was pretty happy to see its performance. So if you guys can do something like that as well, just think a little bit outside the box. Consider as you're scrolling through the news feed, what's going to stop you if you lived in that area? Just it's a brighter graphic, it's bold lettering, it's something that either does or doesn't look like an ad, but something different. Think outside the box. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, to turn it off right away.
Hey, Marcus, I just took what you said yesterday. I've actually taken that image and zoomed it in some more, and I've got it ready to go for my next set of ads whenever I run them. But yeah, I zoomed in a little bit because that was stretching out a little too far, going south to Hamilton and stuff, which way too far. But that's it.
Good job. Yeah, that's it. That's that you, and again, and what I was recommending to Ole, like he was coming maybe a little bit too small on the ad budget in that area at $9 a day. So, and that's because if you look at Toronto and that GTA area, that's $1 million market. Not only is it high end in that entire area, it's very competitive on the ad space. So in markets like his, I recommend starting around 15 just to kind of get into that market. Doesn't mean you have to sustain that, but you know, you got some heavy advertisers out there. So always consider when you're running an ad, who you're running it up against. And that's why you're not necessarily coming in at 9. Sometimes in your higher end markets, coming in a little bit more aggressive is a smart play just to start getting your ad relevant. Would you agree on that, Logan?
I would. Can everybody see this real quick? You guys see, what do you see on my screen here? Do you see the maze?
Yep.
Yep.
So this is kind of it's a little bit cheesy, and it's kind of what I wanted to try. So it breaks the mold of Facebook. It's something different. It's engaging. As you're scrolling through Facebook, the idea is you should see an image that you haven't seen before. It's supposed to look a little out of place, and you're gonna go, oh, that's interesting. Then the ad copy, and I've got a couple different variations of ad copy, kind of like buying a home is much like navigating a maze. Selling or buying a home can be much like navigating a maze. But either way, this is kind of the one I wanted to start with, is just straight up. Selling a home is much like navigating a maze. It's always better to follow someone who's been through it a few times before. One of the many free services I offer is a free home evaluation. Simply click below to get started. And what this one's going to do is it's going to be built under the Facebook lead ad form. And then I'm going to connect the StreetText landing page to it as well. So we're going to get name, number, and email. And then I'd say about 30% of the time, we're probably going to get an address as well. The ones that don't come through as an address, quick phone call, quick text, whatever it is. I still need the missing information to get started. So again, I'm going to start writing down everybody who's put in the pre-construction for the, and I'll pass that off to Maddie. And then anybody else who wants the one I just showed you there, same thing. Just tell me that you want the maze. Give me your name, email, and your preferred target, and that would be fantastic. And we'll get stuff built for you guys here. I've got some time blocked for myself right after this call, and see what we can do.
Good stuff. Couple other great fundamentals to think about is, do you have a good email signature that's going out with your emails? Like, is your face in it? Is it vibrant? My example would be, let's see, if I pull up my own Gmail that the StreetText team here built for us, would be, I would want to see something. I'll show you guys. Something for you that goes out with your emails that really is not about your brand, but it's about brand you. It's not about your, cool looking icon, but the actual imagery is your photo, right? And you kind of see how mine is as a big bold Marcus Willard, my role. I have my little brand down there. Your brand would be your brokerage, and then some of your social media icons down there. I have a little button that says, are we Facebook friends yet? Obviously, you know why I do that. But I love to see something like that automatically go out with every email that you have sending. So that'd be something I would make sure to have in your automations and your just emails that you send out anyways.
Marcus,
so
I have a
something-
question. In the signature, can one put, like I have in my email, a link to my story, and it's a video that I had made. Can I put that in my signature?
I don't know. That's a good question. We'd have to ask the people that.
The techies.
There's the techies in here. The techies in here. So post that question as well in the insider group, and we'll get the right necessary techies on you to figure out. There is, in a lot of people don't look at the dashboard, but there is a help section, and the help section includes searchable videos and articles about how to add an email signatures, how to edit email signatures. And that's also in the Thinkific StreetText Academy course that Troy built. So there is a lot of stuff. Sometimes you just forget that it's there. And you can always have that little chat feature too, whenever you can't find something within your dashboard, that you can click on and ask a question to, or search for an article there.
If you can link to your website, which you can in your signature, I'm sure you can link to anything.
Probably.
And you're talking about the emails that are going out from StreetText, right? Not my Gmail account. right, Marcus?
Right. But set it up all with the same brand, right? Like it needs to be consistent, congruent. Don't do something different with your personal email that is going out automatically, because you always want to make sure that that's consistently branded with you. It feels the same. The experience is the same. It's not two different clunky experiences. So I think congruency is massive. So always look to see what you're sending out personally and what you're sending out automatically, and make sure those all feel and look the same. Any questions on that? And remember, I know we probably got some newbies here too, brand new trials. Like a lot of the stuff is way over them. But Phil, this is the perfect time just to ask questions, because you have about 50 people here would be willing to tell you exactly, what their experience has been, how long they've been with us. So don't be shy. This is the perfect time just to ask away. There's not any bad questions.
Hi, my
Yeah.
bad.
Hey, Chris.
Okay, so I would be doing what's your home really worth, like the test ads. And I was just wondering, like, what is the recommended, like, we set them for? Because we did them for like $10 for like 24 hours or something like that, for 3 of them. But I had done like the landmark photo, but I had taken it a little too seriously, and I had just like done a zoom up of like the landmark, and that didn't really do well. So I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna do kind of like an aerial of like a neighborhood. We're in Orlando, so I was thinking like maybe just do Kissimmee. But like, how much should we be doing our test run for?
Ooh, yeah, good question. And Logan will probably answer this as well. I would say, someone sharing? Logan, or who's someone?
There you go. I was muted. Can you guys see Kelowna now?
No, I'm just saying
we can see the StreetText dashboard.
Okay, let me stop my share again. That always happens on when I do this one. So I was just going to show you Kelowna real quick, because this is kind of the imagery first that I was talking about before that should work. Again, if you're zoomed way in on the casino in the middle here, it's an ad for that casino. If you're zoomed in on the harbor, it's an ad for the harbor. But if you're back as far as we are, and they're just identifiable landmarks that if you are a Kelowna resident or you live anywhere near or pass through this area, it's instantly recognizable, but it's clearly not an ad for that. And there's a plethora of residential real estate in the background. It's very important. Next, as it comes to ad budget, it's very important that you're making switches and changes, and it's largely tied to median home value. So if you're in an area where your median is, I'd say between 3 and 6, $9 a day is typically adequate. Anything over $600,000 median, you're going to have to start increasing your spend. Typically, I would say between 7 and 9, you're probably somewhere $10 to $12. Anything over $1 million, you're 12 to 15 a day, right? And I mean, you can change based on everything, but as you're going, if you're getting overwhelmed with leads at whatever your spend is, great problem to have. Start incrementally lowering that budget. If the opposite's happening, if you have threshold, available bandwidth, if you want to call it that, and you have money available, great. Start increasing that budget, but find a starting ground that's more in line with what you are, what your median is. And question for you, Christine, what would be your median? Let's, or even just what area are you?
So we're right now in like Orlando, but we get a lot of people from like kind of like very next to Disney, Kissimmee. Like that's a lot of our what's the word I'm looking for? Like a lot of our clientele is looking in Kissimmee, right? So that could be anywhere from, I mean, I would say like the baseline and kind of the clients that we would like to work with are definitely like 300. That's like the base.
You're in a bit of a more unique area. It's like where you are in, say, Vegas, for instance. Vegas is a little bit higher median, but there's also a lot of ads in general. Facebook's an auction, right? Facebook's an ad auction. And if you're in an area where you're next door, if Orlando, right, you're right there to Disney World, there's going to be a lot of advertising in that area in general. People because there's droves of people who congregate to that space. So Coca-Cola, Nike, all these people are going to spend a lot of ad dollars there. So even though you are in an area where the median is only $375 to $425, I would probably consider, starting to juice up your spend a little bit. I think $10 a day is okay, might be a little bit conservative. If you're not finding within a series of ads that $10 a day is bringing you in leads, try $12 a day. You don't need to shoot for the moon and go to $20 or anything silly like that. Just keep going up slowly until you find what works. and be very considerate of your median home value. The higher your median, the more you're gonna have to spend on ads typically, but also where am I? Am I in an area of mass population and tourist attractions and this, that, and the other thing where advertising companies are gonna be running a plethora of ads? You are, so consider that as well, and probably take the $9 recommendation and bump it up to 11 or 12. That's what I would probably.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, I don't really want to necessarily do like right next to Disney, because I was like, anybody who sees like, you know, a Disney landmark is going to be like, this is an ad. And I mean, it's an ad anyway, like we're not necessarily too scared of that, but definitely to make them stop, because if you see a Disney ad, you're going to be like, okay, keep scrolling. So we had just done like another landmark, but I definitely think like, okay, maybe I'll do like a downtown aerial shot, because then that's something different. That's not Disney, you know? So, and then you said you recommend maybe like for the test runs, 12. I mean, of course the test runs are going to be, you know,
12 or 11 is what I'd say. And then just keep in mind, you know, regardless of what you're testing, whether you're testing new ad budget, new area, new imagery, whatever it is, 24 hours. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, replace it. And oftentimes you replace it with the exact same thing. Just you'll have to do that a few times. But once you find the one that works, you lock it in and you're good to go. Looks like Jeff, you had your hand up there. If you had something you wanted to ask as well.
I do. Can you hear me? Okay. I've been running a Facebook ad for buyers in the Boston area, and it's been working really well. It's if you want the list for 900 and under, blah, blah, blah. But I just got a message yesterday saying from Instagram saying that there was some kind of a violation. Did they use different criteria? Or did I may have checked the box that said run Instagram as well. I didn't know what that was. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't know who's going to be eager to jump on that one. I don't know if we anybody who's super. That
happened to me too. That I ran.
Do they use different criteria? Instagram does.
I ran a campaign that included Instagram as well, and Facebook suspended my account.
Now, to my knowledge, to the information that we have, the criteria should be the same. I don't think there's going to be a huge difference. With that same thing said, I've seen 3 ad split tests, one be disapproved because it goes against, you know, practices or business standards, and 2 are perfectly fine. I've seen that. So Facebook makes mistakes sometimes, and you have to request a review. On the Instagram side specifically, again, it's a little strange to hear that one, you know, Facebook approved and Instagram wouldn't, given the fact that they're different platforms, fair, but they're operated in much the same way. The algorithm's the same. There's a lot of similarities. They're, you know, owned by the same company. So research for us to do on our end to make sure what we're, you know, doing on that side. But as far as my knowledge, there's no reason why something should be approved on Facebook and not on Instagram, but certainly something for us to investigate, and we'll let you guys know right away.
I wanted to bring something up. Keep in mind these stats. These are good guidelines for you to look at. And a lot of people kind of blindly set up ads, not thinking about what to really look at for stats. So when you hover your mouse over, let's just say one of the most popular ads being the What's Your Home Really Worth ad, you can see that there's 11,528 active people as of this last month testing it. What you're looking at is this cost per lead. It's really an cost per address average of $2. Cost per email average of $6, cost per phone number. So what does that tell you? That tells you a couple of things, that 1 in 3 of your addresses, generally speaking, and you know, every market's unique, but generally speaking, you'll see about 1 in 3 addresses provide an email, and about 1 in 3 emails provide you a phone number. So keep in mind that particular ad and funnel template also has this 64.1% average click to contact, which is phenomenal. You can't find something like that in really any ad performance level out there. But that's why in the beginning in the split testing, generally what you're looking for is the lowest cost per click as well, as you're looking for the lead flow. Because if you're getting a nice cost per click, generally you're going to find that, you know, somewhere between 6 to 7 on average. Anything over 50%, I'm kind of entertaining, is going to give me at least an address, and then the numbers start playing out. So that's the split test concept, and that's also recognizing that you're testing this 15-mile radius out. So you have to ultimately decide, is it just quantity I'm looking for? Or as I'm reviewing these ads and seeing the ad ID they're coming from, which particular neighborhoods are the ones that I'm getting and liking? because I'll pay a couple more dollars for that if it's a neighborhood that I want to serve, and forget about it if I'm getting double or triple lead flow and it's places I'd never go. So that's where in the beginning, as Facebook is picking up on relevancy within this massive circle, consider those type of ideas. That's why we need that 24 to 40 hour period, or at least 500 people reached. And sometimes I see a lot of you just simply turn off an ad too early, and that can be evident of places that are super highly competitive. You haven't even got to that 500 people reached yet. It hasn't even pulled up that standard. So that's a couple things to look at on the ad performance.
Can I ask you where it says if my ad is still running? I know that it says I'm still running it, but is there somewhere on that ad that says if it's actually still running with Facebook?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know for the fact if I'm in your ad account here, Jeff, I can see it's still turned on.
Yeah.
Here. And so if it wasn't running, like if I simply turn it off, which I'm doing right now, now it's off. And if I turn it back on, it's back on. So it was still running. You can see in the last 7 days, it's spent $86. You're averaging about a $4 phone number at this moment.
I've been getting a lot of leads on it, so I'm assuming those numbers are good.
Yeah, they're absolutely. And so if you go to show leads on that particular ad, you can start seeing these leads in the last one that came in. And so you can see as of yesterday, you had a lead come in, right? Wendy White. And then again, Lucy on Tuesday, and Allison on Tuesday, and Helen on Tuesday. And yeah, I mean, Tuesday was a great day for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leads.
Today's Wednesday and it's still running because I got that thing late last night from Instagram.
Well, if it was late last night, then that could be something that you have to just look at and follow and keep an eye on, because it still says it's on, but there could be something that's stopping it from there. So that's where we can look on, and we'll do some support on that. But that's the best way to look at your ads, right? And then remember, some days are different than the others. You don't look at it as in a day-to-day, especially when you have ads running for a while. Look at it in weekly snapshots. Weekly snapshots are way better because you can go from a lead one day and then 7 the next day. You never know. So, and I always get the question, is there certain days that are better than others? Not really. And because remember, if you turn off an ad by more than 72 hours, it does reset. So you don't want to play that game of I'm going to only run it, Saturday and Sunday and da-da-da. Like you'll lose a lot that way because you'll have to always constantly reset your algorithm. Just small learning lessons over time. So today was a lot of ad performance questions.
My bad. Could I ask one more thing? But so in regards, I think I'm just like, I know that, you have to play around with the budget and things like that. But I think for the test runs, I mean, I didn't know about like the 500 person reach. I wasn't even like looking at that. I was kind of just looking at like, okay, we're going to run 3 and we're going to see which one is like more like, worth the cost of it. Right. But I mean, I guess definitely now with the 500 person reach and kind of maybe leaving it longer for the test run, or you don't recommend that? You just say for the test run, leave for 24 to 48, see what's best.
It's not always. Okay, so there's a couple circumstances where I say don't. Like if there's if you're one of those people that can get it, and you're looking at your leads are coming in, and you can see right off the bat, there's particularly a pickup on lead flow from a certain ad ID.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a lead flow that you like, it's an area you like, and you can see multiple submissions coming in from there. At that point, you can kind of tell yourself that's the one. I don't need to look for another one. I can turn off the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
But in the case of you have a couple doing the same thing, then you might let them ride a little bit longer. Or let's just say you've gotten to this, $6 spend up to $10, and you don't have a single click on it yet. Those are some of the times where I'm like, I'm not liking this so far, Facebook. I don't think it's just going to pick up tomorrow. And that's where I sometimes just play the game a little bit more aggressively and pause it and do another set of tests.
Okay. All right. I think then maybe because I am literally going to like do one right after this. So I'm like, okay, I'll just run 3, 12, and then, get a picture I like, and we'll see how the next 24 to 48 hours go, and kind of just be more strategic and not just like cost effective, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Logan, anything you'd add on to that, buddy? I always defer to Logan because he's my ad expert.
Again, there's a reason why we do 3 ads, and it's the true definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing, but expect different results. And I think if you have 1 ad going and you're going to follow our directions, you're going to have to leave it for $10 of ad spend to know if it's doing well. So you're definitely spending $10 per ad. Whereas if you do 3 ads at say $10 a day, now, after $5 spent, one of them has a good cost per click, has brought in some leads and some emails. The other ones haven't done anything. Jump the gun, turn 2 of them off and leave that best one running. That's one of the big advantages of doing it 3. You get to, snap to those decisions, but at the same time, it's not always 24 hours. It's really the ad spend. We say 24 hours because it's easier rather than have to, check it every couple hours. Have I spent all my money yet? No, we say give it 24 hours because typically around there you will have spent between, I'd say, $7 to $11, give or take, by the time you go to check it. And typically that's enough to make a decision. But that's where, again, go to come to these sessions, go to your coach's daily sessions. We have ad check-in sessions. We have all sorts of ways for my clients. Just send me a text. Hey, Logan, how are my ads doing? Real quick, I'll quickly check them over and say, hey, things are great.
Well said. I mean, we've seen tens of thousands of ads at this point between most of us. So sometimes all you got to do is send a quick message to that person, your coach, and just say, hey, check out my ads. What do you think? What would you do? That's it, right? And we have no problem with setting up another split for you with our best recommendation, just to quickly get you going in the right direction again.
Sounds good.
Rosario, do you have a question?
We talked about engaging with people personally on Facebook and seeing that's valuable for a lot of people, and that's great. Is there a way that you guys can add that to the dashboard where you could just click a button on that lead that came in to connect to them on Facebook and add them as a friend?
It's actually funny that you say that. It's something, and I'm sure if we have any of our super techie guys on here, that would be fantastic. As far as I'm aware, there's no way of doing that currently, simply based on privacy policy. And there are some reasons for that. Again, my knowledge of coding I'm gonna go ahead and say it's limited. That's not my specialty. So it's definitely something that can be passed on as a feature request to our dev team, because how great would that be? But it's something that I would like for myself as well, for anytime you guys come in, for me to be able to just hit add friend without having to go and search you on Facebook. We deal with the exact same stuff you're dealing with in that regard. And boy, oh boy, would that be nice, Rosario. Right. So
well, you figure, if they're going to click on the ad, it should be easy enough to backtrack to who that person was and just add them as a friend.
And the logical brain would think exactly the way you're thinking. And that was originally, and if I'm not mistaken, this is something that I asked for 5-6 years ago. And the answer I would have been given was privacy issues. There's just no way to do it. Otherwise we'd be doing it. But again, Facebook changes all the time. And, our knowledge of how things work changes all the time. So it's something that we probably haven't, reinvestigated in a little while. So it's definitely something I'll put into our feature request right away. If it's within the realm of possibilities, we've got a very effective team of development staff here that can get things done pretty darn quick, which is nice. So it's the benefit of having a bigger company, is that when if it's possible, we'll get it done, right? And I think that would be something that would benefit a lot of people, myself included. So certainly, yeah, I'll put that into the list, and if we get positive feedback, it'll get we'll get to work on it. If not, I'll let you know that we're not there yet.
Yes. Steve just mentioned Facebook won't share that info on the click, but we can get it with messenger ads, which we will add as another option, but it will only work on certain ads. But that, again, remember how I said be a detective a little bit, especially with these addresses that come in, and you're going to correlate that information with tax records. You're going to use the advanced search of Facebook. A lot of people forget that when you search for their name, you want to actually search by city or location as well. You're going to use things like LinkedIn Navigator and Google and all this stuff to see what you can find. It's not just always track back to Facebook. Do a little bit of your own research, just cross-reference some information. Sometimes you can kind of find things and then make the connection. That's my recommendation. And it's not going to be 100%, but if you can find a way to connect, it's going to work. So if you do find them on Facebook, send them the Facebook message as well. Throw in the video in there, throw in a voicemail, and then send the email to let them know that you did that as well, so that they know to go there to check for it. Cool. Questions, comments, anything that we could help you with today? This is your time. I'm gonna start calling on some of you. Okay, I can see your faces. Craig, Cliff, anything? Jeremy?
I really don't have much to
Hey,
add to
Marcus,
the conversation.
Hey, Cliff.
Hey, I recently did an ad for an open house. You know, I have 2 open houses. I did 3, three split ad. So for each, I got about 37 leads with names and phone numbers, but nobody showed up, which is fine. And I got some leads, and then try to contact them, and the first 5 that I contact them, the usual, hey, I didn't, how you get my number? I didn't request for a phone call. I'm like, okay, what do I do from here on?
So did you just stop after 5?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, keep going. I mean, just call them and just say, hey, noticed you were on Facebook, maybe looking for this type of property, and just say, are you in the market looking for a property at the moment? And I'd love to get you on a buyer list if so, because I don't know, did that house sell? Is it on the market already?
Yeah, it's on the market. It's not selling yet.
Okay.
It's somebody's listing. I just got permission from it's my peer, got permission, and then I put it on the ad.
And maybe if anybody has some recommendations on how you go about that, but I think that it's obvious they're looking for that type of property. So this would be a good opportunity to pull up a list of homes like that's available on the market right now, and show them some other alternatives to look at, including that house, obviously. It's like, hey, would you like me to schedule something for you to see this home? Or can I put together something, and that's how I would probably follow up. And I might send a text first with those guys, just to break the ice a little bit, and maybe another email, and then make the phone call after you sent some of that information.
Okay.
Any advice on that one for Cliff, based on other experiences, guys?
Yeah, I would definitely send a text. I would say, thank you for clicking on my open house ad. Here's a link to more information about the property, and just, send them something like that. We do drone videos on ours. So when we get people inquiring about our properties, I always send out the drone video just because it's so badass and people love it. And and then just put your information in there. And if it is an open house, remind them what day and time, and then just let them know that you're, here for them. Or do a quick video of you in the house, walking around showing it, and, inviting them again, something like that.
Yeah, I like that. Here's one of my favorite features of this home, right?
Yeah.
If you want to see more, let me know. Here's some more information.
I'll be swimming in the pool later.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then just do a backflip into the pool.
Right.
I swear, everything these days is doing something like outside the box, right? It's like, there's nothing formal, and there's no one way to do it. It's your way. So the hard part with follow-up is that you just got to find a way that connects to them and it feels comfortable for you. So like you could look at Wendy, and you're not going to do what Wendy does, right, Cliff? And Cliff, she won't do what you do. You got to find what that superpower is within your own follow-up, but it's got to feel genuine for you. It doesn't, if it starts feeling scripted, you'll never do it. Or if you're like, this is just not comfortable for me. But some of the times it's just practice. So just acknowledge right now, Cliff, as you've been here for a while now, is that you're building this massive database. Massive, right? And so all we got to do is stay in front of them, continue to drip them with value, check in as often as possible. It's just going to take one, and the momentum is going to build. it's tough at times, especially when you're not getting the ROI that you think you should get. But again, this is a long-term solution. So for me, you got to look at it as database marketing. You're building this massive list of people, and then you're just trying to find a way to connect to them and show them your value and be different and unique than every other realtor trying to get their business. So you're just going to add value.
I got 366 StreetText leads and nothing yet, but I'm hopeful.
And that's it. And it will happen, because 366. So when times slow down, when things got like the key is you go back to the very bottom, very first lead. Jennifer Salter is known for doing this, very first lead, and throw it think about when's that person. I don't know when you started StreetText, but think about how long ago that was. Think about how much has shifted and changed in this market. It could be just a simple ask. Hey, you gained a bunch of equity in your home over the time. I'd love to give you an updated market value. Would be that something interested in? Donna Swansea was famous for that too. So sometimes we just got to go back to the bottom and then one by one, simply copy paste a generic message and just see if we can get the conversation initiated again.
Yeah, I started in February, late February.
Yeah.
I see Valencia has her hand up for a bit, so I thought I'd give you a chance to jump in here before we.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask about Homebot. So I just signed up for Homebot and I started adding in just some of my past clients. But if you guys could show me where the step-by-step maybe instructions are to integrate my StreetText with Homebot and how it all really works once it starts flowing properly.
Yeah. Let's see here. I can kind of give you at least what I know on the integration side of this is if you go to settings and then you go to integrations, there's a Homebot button right up there. And so when you click on that Homebot button, you just click connect your Homebot account. And it'll kind of walk you through the connection there. And then every one of those contacts now will have a little Homebot button there that you can add them into your Homebot if they have an address. So that's
make sure they have a name, because it won't be added to Homebot unless they don't have a name. So, just if they have an email, that's great. You can kind of reverse look up and try to find their name, because otherwise it'll error.
Okay, thank you.
And then just remember, it doesn't send them automatic Homebot report. So what Wendy does well is that she'll have a video in her automations of StreetText, and you'll probably want to do this, especially for you that really want to leverage Homebot for high touches in the future, is introduce Homebot yourself, do a screen recording, share with them all the cool features about it and what's possible, and send that and make sure they get it, because then they'll understand what Homebot is about to do for them instead of just randomly putting it in. They're like, what's Homebot? Why am I getting this report? So I would create some sort of intro to Homebot, both within automations and potentially even a personal send. It could be a canned response, so that you can create tracking to make sure, hey, they know this is they're getting it, and now the Homebot digest will take over the way you want it to, because it gets high opens and interactions. Yeah.
Hey, I have a quick question.
Cool, yeah,
I have a quick question. Just what's the best way for me to check in with my coach and just have a quick review or a few things?
Message me.
What's that?
Messenger, for me at least.
Okay.
Facebook Messenger, yeah, that's the easiest way for me. Every coach is unique. Logan likes texting. Ira, I don't know what your preferred method is. Me, it's Facebook Messenger, and obviously if it could fall on the wayside, especially when life is super busy, so just ping me again.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah. All right.
Can I ask you one quick one?
Yes.
As leads are coming in, should I be putting the leads in a drip campaign on StreetText or follow-up boss?
Both. More touches,
okay.
the better. Wendy does that too. Wendy's got follow-up boss with hers. She's got Homebot with hers, as well as the StreetText automation. So And, she goes in there and adds 2 or 3 of her own personal emails in addition to the 9-month long drip campaign that's built. What you'll recognize over time is that these seller ads have this 9-month sequence of automations, but you can actually go in there and continue editing and adding more. I mean, really, if you wanted to, you could have an email shootout every day of the week if you wanted to. Text messages will automatically shut down as soon as they respond, and you kind of control the narrative after that in terms of how you continue the conversation. But you can continue the conversation within the conversations tab just by manually having conversations back and forth.
So that won't interfere with the drip campaign once I enter on. It'll just be both. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So sometimes, like, taking a step back, thinking about your systems, reviewing your follow-up boss, reviewing your Homebot, looking at the 9-month long drip email campaign, and then start asking yourself, okay, put yourself in the homeowner or the buyer's shoes. They're going to click on this ad. They're going to automatically get this message. And then am I comfortable with them continuing getting these automations? So you're going to say, well, what does day 3 look like? What is day 10? A lot of people just blindly let things go. Part of what I want you to recognize is just imagine if you were that person, would you like the value of all this information coming at them, both from the follow-up side, follow-up boss side, from your Homebot side, from those sides, and where's the authenticity in that, or where's the what feels like a personal connection to you? And that's why we all talk about video being imperative in that process, because they get to know you and experience your personality and kind of see that side of you. So just a couple.
I follow up with them with a bomb. We follow up with them. Curtis helps me and follows up with them. Then we follow up with a bomb. And then I actually enter them into the MLS, and no one's got pissed yet. So I'm waiting to get a bad call from MLS saying I put somebody in without permission. It hasn't happened yet with 80 people. So I'll keep quiet.
Yeah.
I'm not here next
by the way,
I'm in MLS jail.
So Curtis is like he's an ISA guy, right?
Yes, you guys referred me to him.
Yeah, okay. And so that's a good discussion too, and we'll have that shortly. For people that are using ISA and VAs, Jakey Patel, who's one of our more successful agents on that side, is going to be hosting an office hour style class sometime soon. So she's not only going to go over everything she's taught in her course that she's created through Thinkific, she's actually going to teach you how to train your VAs and ISAs so that they're booking you appointments and they're on the same page as you and they're doing it with your process in mind. So that's going to be helpful for you guys on a team level and on an ISA level when you're feeding it to agents. Even for some of you that are just single agents, it's great to see that what's possible in the future, because I mean, a lot of you have aspirations to grow that way. So I'm seeing some good stuff on that level. I'd be, so look in the insider group, that webinar will be coming out shortly, and then we'll create a registration for that, and you can kind of see how that's working for Jakey. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Great mastermind today. We'll see you next week. If you have anything that you want to add to this, post it in the insider group, and we'll be talking to you soon.